Hey everybody, this is Salar, and you guys are welcome to this exciting course on C Sharp. We are learning C Sharp step by step. In the last lecture, we learned to code two-dimensional array, and now we know how this structure works and how do we read out the values from the structure. For example, here is a code we wrote in the last lecture. We created a two-dimensional array matrix, and the array has three rows and four columns. And to access the value, we use the rows and the column index values. For example, 00 represents the first value because it exists on row 0 and column 0. And when we provide index values to the array for reading out or for writing, the first value represents the row and the second value represents the column. So these were the concepts we discussed in the previous lecture. And in this lecture, we are going to loop through this entire structure. And we know that from the previous lectures, arrays can only be handled using the loop. We cannot add, remove, and update the values manually. So let's learn how do we apply loop on two-dimensional array and read out all the values. We are going to use the same array that we have in our program. Now, before we apply loop, there are three important things we need to understand. The first thing is the length property, right? We know the length property returns the number of components, and number of components are actually the length of the array. And the length property works very well on one dimension array. But in this case, when we have two different dimensions, length property is not very useful. It returns the number of components, but number of components are not enough to loop through this structure. We actually need the number of rows and columns in order to loop through this structure. So let me first show you the output of this length property. So we are going to apply the length property on, on our array, and the output should be the number of components. Now you can see we have three rows and four columns. The number of components should be 12. So let's run the program and check the output. And so you see the output in the console. 12 is the answer. So that means we have 12 components in our array. So the length property is not very useful, especially in the case where we wanna loop through this structure. The two-dimensional array, in fact, has its own methods to get the number of rows and columns. And the name of the method is get length. In a console write line, we will call the get length method and provide a constant value of 0. And in the second console write line, we will write the same get length method. And now here we will provide the constant value of 1. The 0 is a constant value and it returns the number of rows. And 1 is also a constant which returns the number of columns. So get linked method with the values 0 and 1 is used to retrieve the number of rows and the columns. And 0 and 1 are the constant values. 0 represents the rows and 1 represents the columns. Now you will see the output. The first right line will return 3 because we have 3 rows. And the second right line will return the value of 4 because we have 4 columns. But let's run the program and check the output. And so you see the output, right? 3 and 4. So we have 3 rows and 4 columns. So that simply means when we loop through this entire structure where we have two dimensions, we do not use length property. We actually use get length method to get the number of rows and the columns. In order to loop through this structure, we apply for loop, and for loop is the best loop to apply on arrays. We have already seen and discussed that in our previous lectures. So one thing is definite, we will use for loop, but a single for loop is not enough here. We have two dimensions. We have rows and columns. So to access both the index values from the rows and the columns, we actually need nested for loops. That simply means this two-dimensional structure cannot be looped through without nested loops. When we create nested loops, we actually have a loop inside another. We have an outer loop and inner loop. The nested for loops and the execution of the structure we have already covered. I did a separate lecture on nested for loops. So if you have missed that lecture, go to the channel, find the lecture and watch it. So nested for loops are required to loop through this structure, and when we create nested for loops, the outer loop gonna loop through the rows and the inner loop will go through all the columns. So let's create nested for loops in order to loop through this two-dimensional array structure. This is our outer loop, and this loop gonna loop through the rows. As you can see, I am using the get length 0. Get length 0 simply returns the number of rows. And here I am going to change the name of my variables in order to make the code more understandable. Let's say the name of the variable is row instead of r. And now inside the outer loop, we are going to create another loop. And this time the variable name is column and the get length value is 1 because we are going to loop through the column in the inner loop. The execution is simple. When the value of row is 0, and this column variable will go from 0 to 3, right? We have 4 columns having index values of 0 to 3. Get length will return the value 4. So our column variable will go from 0 to 3. When the value of the column value becomes 4, this loop stops its repetition. Now, let's say if we compile our code manually, so when the value of the row variable is 0, this column variable will go from 0, 1 to 3. Now, in the second repetition of the outer loop, the row becomes 1, and once again, the column will starts its repetition from 0, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And in the third and the last repetition of the outer loop, the value of the row becomes 2. And once again, when we come inside the loop, the inner loop will go again 0, 1, 2, and 3. This is wrong here. 0, 1, 2, and 3. Right? So every repetition of the outer loop, this inner loop will start its repetition from 0. And this is how this nested loop structure works. And that also means in the first repetition, we are pointing to the first row using the outer loop and then going to the right from one column to another column using the inner loop. In the second repetition of the outer loop, we are pointing to the second row and then once again visiting all the columns from left to right using the inner loop. So loop variables here, rows and columns are actually representing the index values. Now we can provide these index values in console write line to print out all the components. The first value is a row value and the second value is a column value. That's it. Now, before we run this program, we can make our output more interesting. When we leave this inner loop, that simply means we have went through all the columns. So we can simply print a line gap in the console. Now, let's run the program and check the output. And so you see the output in the console. We have successfully loop through all the values one by one, right? Here you see the first column or the first row. Here we have the second row, and here we have the third row. We can actually make our output more interesting just by removing the right line or changing the right line with right method. And here we can put a simple space between the components like this. Now you see an output exactly like this. So let's run the program. Check the output once again. And so you see the output, right? Here you see an array and the same output in the console. So my friend, that was all about looping through two-dimensional array. And here you need to remember only two things. The first thing, we do not use length property. We actually use get length method. Get length with value 0 returns the number of rows and the value 1 returns the number of columns. And secondly, a single for loop is not enough because we need to access both the rows and the columns, and that's why we apply nested for loops. So my friends, that was all about two-dimensional array, and we have covered this topic thoroughly. Now we know how to create a two-dimensional structure and how to loop through it using the nested for loops. In our next lecture, we are going to cover the checked array. Checked array is the last data structure in the array category. I will see you there. Thanks for watching and take care of you.